Are you tired of struggling with your options trading? The highest paid online is having a March Madness sale on the VIP course. Use code MARCH40 to receive 40% off the VIP course. This sale ends on March 31st, 2025. Go to highestpaid.online and get started today.
So what's going on, everybody? This is David W. Williams, also known as a retail trader. Appreciate everybody for coming. And I know it's a Monday. No, we just started a work week. I know that a lot of people may still be at work based on what part of the country that they're coming from. I'm on the East Coast. A lot of people are going to be an hour behind me or even 3 to 4 hours behind me. So I appreciate everybody for coming through. Any mods come through, just want you to watch out for people typing in all caps and also people that kind of take away from what we're talking about here. They're kind of doing their own thing. Time them out initially, and after that, go ahead and get them up out of here. And that can be a real big help to me because it allows me to concentrate on what I'm talking about as opposed to trying to watch them and also concentrate on what I'm talking about at the same time. So appreciate everybody for coming through. What we're going to talk about is bad financial stewardship is economic warfare and how you can help or hurt your group. And so my goal is to persuade you that being a bad financial steward, right? And we're going to get into the definition of that, is a form of economic warfare that's being waged against you. And once you kind of get an understanding of your position in this situation, you can either continue with it and be detrimental to your group, or you can figure out how to become a better financial steward and be a benefit to your group. And it's all kind of depending on how you want to look at it and how you want to see it, right? And it's not based on anybody else. It's really based on yourself. One of the things we do at this channel, I'm going to continue to reiterate, is we talk more about you and we try to spend less time talking about other people. And we're going to give you all the answers of why these other people did something that has very little to do with you. I was in church maybe a month ago, and the pastor straight out said that nobody's in hell because somebody else put them there, right? And I think people really need to understand that, okay? A lot of people are trying to justify their life based on other people, okay? And I'm not saying that other people don't act and do things. We're going to talk about systems and structures here. But there's a massive movement on the internet to get you to focus on everybody else except what you're doing and to get you to excuse your behavior behind what somebody else did. And I want you to really start looking at your own personal behavior. And we're going to talk about this in this particular video and your day-to-day activities and what your mind is on and what your thoughts are on. So we're not saying that people don't act on you, but a lot of times what you're involved in it has a lot to do with you as a person. And sometimes you're not being taught properly if you only focus on other people and every video you watch on YouTube is about somebody else. Okay, so that's what we're going to get ready to get into. Appreciate everybody coming through. Want to encourage people to look into the sale for the particular course. It's our March Madness sale. After 31st of March, that's going to be over. We're going to bring the price back up. You're getting in at a cut rate price based on the value. I'm giving you like 40 something videos in the VIP for that price point. It's as long as the Teachable is going to be up, you're going to have the course. A lot of testimonials, change a lot of people's lives. And we're going to kind of talk about how that incorporates to what we're talking about today. But let's get into it, right? I don't want to have you here too long. So here's a definition of stewardship, right? And I got this from Merriam-Webster. Office duties, obligations of a steward, the conducting, supervising, or managing of something, especially the careful and responsible management of something entrusted to one's care. And the example would be stewardship of natural resources. Sorry for the typo and where I put it out. And the reason why we want to give you a definition is to get you to understand what stewardship actually means, right? Because a lot of times we get these terms and a lot of stuff's used on the internet. And I know I've realized now that terms can be different kind of based on what population we're in. So let's kind of get on the same page with the definition. That's pretty much the definition that we're going to be using in this particular video. So we all kind of understand where we're coming from, right? So let's keep going. The questions we want to ask you, and I want you to ask yourself, how well do you steward over your finances? So we talked about what is the definition of being a steward. Then how well do you do that over your finances? We want to also ask the question, why stewardship can be difficult. And we also ask, do your relationships support the required stewardship to accomplish your goals? Right? So these are questions you want to ask yourself, right? We're not going to really talk about a lot of other people yet. We want you to really start looking at your behavior and what you're doing. And we're not going to use these terms to excuse your behavior in the situation, right? Which is also real big on the internet, especially in the relationship life coach space, right? We're not going to do that. So here's what I want you to understand. You are trained and socialized to be a consumer, right? And the quicker you understand that, I think the faster you'll be able to solve a lot of your problems as a steward of financial resources. Okay. Now you're trained and socialized to be a lot of other things, but you are 100% inside this American economy. You are trained and socialized to be a consumer. And the faster you understand that, the easier it'll be for you to start becoming a better steward of your financial resources, right? This is 100% a psychological part of psychological warfare. It's part of psychological conditioning. Some people may even say it's even coming from the military. I don't know, but I know it is coming. It is a organized effort to train and socialize you to be a consumer. And for many of you that may not be in the markets, I know I got a lot of stock market sharks on this particular YouTube video. I appreciate y'all coming through. But for many of you that are going to kind of catch this new and you're not kind of used to the community, you don't know what we know, right? Because you're not in the markets the way we are. And I'm going to kind of show you what I mean. So you don't know what we know. And I'm not looking down on you because I didn't always know it, right? But once you know what we know, you look at this whole thing totally different because you start to understand what we know about how this system actually works. So let me show you what I'm talking about, right? This morning, we got the monthly retail data. So advanced monthly sales of retail and food services came out this morning. What are we looking at? We're looking at how a retail food service is going. And the reason why we want to know that is because we want to understand, do we believe that the consumer is willing and able to spend in this economy? So we get this data and we as traders, we sit around and talk this data. We parse it up. We try to figure out what direction it's going to go in. So this is data that we look at on a regular basis, right? This is coming from the U.S. Census. This is not coming from a YouTuber, right? This is coming from the census, right? Now, you may have the Asian dude that sits in his apartment or his house and he talks about it. You know, he may do it, but most people are not even hip to this particular type of data that gets released on a regular basis, right? So that's what I want you to understand. This gets released regardless of administration. Then we got University of Michigan Survey of Consumers. And we want to understand, right, how do people perceive consumer sentiment? And what we're really trying to figure out is that, are people open and willing to buy? Now, why would this be important in this economy? That's what you got to ask yourself. Why are we so worried about retail data? Why are we worried about consumer sentiment, right? Consumer expectations. How do consumers perceive inflation over the next 12 months to a year? Why are we worried about that? Why would a big state university like University of Michigan spend time, money, and energy surveying consumers, right? So while they arguing about all this other stuff, this stuff is always going on in the background. And there's a reason for that, right? Let's roll into something else. We're looking at, this is from U.S. Bank, right? How does consumer spending impact the health of the economy? The key consumers, or the key role consumers play in driving the U.S. economic growth, is evident in data showing solid consumer spending in recent years. Persistently healthy consumer spending from 2021 to 2024 led to solid economic expansion. The question for investors now is, how long will the environment persist? Let's go down here. In 2024's fourth quarter, which just passed, consumption expenditures represent nearly 68% of the nation's GDP. So almost 2/3 of our nation's GDP is personal spending. Healthy consumer activity is a primary economic growth driver that's been footnoted to some type of research report. Debt funds an increasing proportion of consumer spending. By 2024's end, total household debt in the U.S. reached a record high of $18.13 trillion. This represents a 3.6 increase over the amount of debt held 1 year prior, right? So debt funds an increasing proportion of consumer spending. And then we understand that consumer spending represents 2/3 of the nation's GDP, right? Okay, let's keep going. There's been a gradual upward trend in overall consumer borrowing. Credit card debt is the growing fastest of all the debt categories. Total U.S. credit card debt topped $1 trillion for the first time in the second quarter of 2023 and increased 7.1% over the one-year period ending December 34th, 2024, which was last year. We're seeing change in household debt. Credit cards are moving up, home mortgages, auto loans, student loans, and other, right? So we're seeing a larger increase in credit card debt because we believe is that most people will not be able to operate in this particular system if they don't have access to consumer credit, right? And here's one of the questions we want to ask. How does consumer spending affect the economy? Consumer spending is far the biggest driver of the economy. According to the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, 68% of the nation's GDP, right? Consumer debt and concern, yada, yada, yada. Then we have here U.S. consumer credit put out by the CME group, right? We want to look at U.S. consumer credit. Here's here. Growth in consumer credit can hold positive and negative implications for the economy and the markets. Economic activity is stimulated when consumers borrow within their means to buy cars and other major purchases. On the other hand, if consumers pile up too much debt relative to their income levels, they may have to stop spending on new goods and services just to pay off old debts that could put a dent in economic growth. What all of these particular banks, this is CME Group, is telling us is that consumer spending is attached to economic growth, right? And then attached to consumer spending is debt spending, right? So I want you to understand that this is a major function of our U.S. economy. It's a major part of our GDP, which is our gross domestic product, right? It's considered 2/3. So when we say that you are being socialized to be a consumer, there's a reason for that in our economy. So let's keep going with this, right? Let me get back to the breakdown. So why does this society need you to be a consumer? We just talked about that with the economic data. The environment needs you to consume to support the environment, right? Therefore, the environment has to persuade you to, you the consumer, train you to persuade others that their value is in consumption and then create more consumers. So sorry for the typo. The environment has to persuade you to be a consumer, one, then train you to persuade others that their value is in consumption, right? We see a lot of that going on, and then also create more consumers. So how do you think, and I'm talking to the audience, how do you think America would look if consumption is 1/3 of the environment as opposed to 2/3? What does the country look like? If consumption goes to 1/3 of the environment as opposed to 2/3, what does the country look like? Right? If you have a shopping district, like I live in the Atlanta metro area, there's a lot of shopping districts here. Okay, a lot of shopping districts here. If those shopping districts all of a sudden no longer people stop coming through, what would happen to those shopping districts? One of the biggest reasons why the stock market failed during the pandemic, and for the people that have tapped in my SMSs that know, is because they started pricing in a recession. And a recession means what? The consumer stopped spending. That's why they started selling everything. Because these companies hold no value if nobody's spending money with them. So that's why if you look at the chart, 2020, we see this massive sell-off on the overall indexes, but you also see this pretty much on every company that is listed. Why? They sold everything because they believe that because everybody's going to be locked down in the house and nobody's going to be spending no money, right? It's going to be detrimental to our economy because our economy is 2/3 based on people spending money. So to support that, what do I have to do? I have to train you to be a consumer. Then I also have to train you to persuade other people that their value, that their worth is in consumption. And then I also have to create more consumers because I need, as you fall off through death or you lose your ability to consume because you're on fixed income, I need you to be replaced by a whole new group of new consumers. So this is why, like in pop culture and music, the sweet spot is between like 16 to 25. Why? Because that's when they spend the money on those type of things. Then as you get older, they market different things to you. So this is a system, and it has to be able to replicate and duplicate itself, or else this thing doesn't work. So many people, when they talk about, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody, but when we talk about we need to get rid of credit, well, do you know what the country looks like if we get rid of the credit markets? I'm not saying we shouldn't get rid of the credit markets. What I'm saying is that have you prepared yourself for a world where we do not have credit markets, right? Or we don't have a system to try to replace our credit markets like you see in some Islamic countries. But you can go to places in Africa where they don't have credit markets. They don't have functioning financial markets. And it's very difficult to conduct business because of that, right? So they haven't done what the Islamic countries have done and figured out how to replace some of our credit markets. They just don't have any financial markets. It's very difficult to do business. It's very difficult to transact. So we got to ask ourselves, if we eliminate these things, what does the world look like before we just saying we want to eliminate them? Okay. So that's what we want to understand. This is a necessity of our environment. Okay. So we're talking about the environmental construct. If you ever watched the movie The Matrix, they talk about this is a construct. You're living in a construct, whether you know it or not, right? The world that you live in was built by people. This is the construct. And so what we mean by the environmental construct or the built environment, it describes the human-made surroundings that provide a setting for human activity. So this includes everything from buildings, parks to entire cities, supporting infrastructure, bridges, roads. But we don't talk about systems, which is going to be water supply, energy networks, and other systems that support human activity, right? So if I need people to engage in consumer spending, I have to build systems to support consumer spending. I got to build financial systems. I have to build marketplaces. I have to build these things to support consumer spending because why? I've decided that consumer spending is going to be 2/3 of my economy. It's not going to be 1/3. It's not going to be half. It's going to really be the majority of the economic activity in this particular construct or built environment. So these are the things you have to understand. When you look outside your environment, just ask yourself the question, who built it? Right? So the world that you currently live in, who built it? And so if somebody built it, they built it for a reason. They didn't build it just to build it. Nobody does that. I got a video on here called Why Don't the Men Don't Build? We talk about capital budgeting. Nobody builds anything just to build it. That's not why this takes place. So look outside of the world you got right now today. Who built it? Ask yourself the question, right? People talking about we in a simulation. I can't tell, right? It's real to me. I don't know if it's real to you, but it's real to me. I'm talking about the physical world, right? Who built it? Okay. Next question you want to ask yourself is this: who controls it, right? What purpose does it serve? Whose purpose does it serve? So this habitat that you're currently in, this construct that you're living in, right? Because let me explain something to you. If we were to go back in time, right, to let's say 1300s, 1400s, before Europeans came to this part of the world didn't look like this, right? The world didn't look like this. They destroyed the world that existed before this, right? That's what they're not going to tell you in history, right? They destroyed it and they built the world on top of it. So the world didn't look like this. So you got to ask yourself, who built this world? What's the purpose of them building the world, and whose purpose does it serve? And I'm not saying that from a judgment standpoint. I'm just telling you what happened, right? They destroyed the world that was here before. They destroyed the systems that were here before. They destroyed it all, and they built something on top of it. So then when you're looking outside, you need to ask yourself, whose system is this? Who controls it? What purpose does it serve? Whose purpose does it serve, right? So a lot of what you see out here is people fighting to get their purpose out of this particular system, but we often don't have conversations about what's the goal of the particular system that we're involved in, and what is it trying to accomplish, and what are these systems trying to accomplish, right? Because I had a brother that was on my other channel, which is more of an interview style channel. He comes out of the environmental space, and he talked about the fact that you really live outside, even though you live inside a building. But you believe that you don't live outside, but you really do live outside. You just live inside a building, but you're still outside, right? So these are kind of the questions we really don't ask ourselves, but you have to understand is that everything that you see going on is designed to serve a purpose. It's designed to support a goal. It's not just random activity, right? It's not. And so because we don't understand systems, we think this stuff is just random, and then we think our participation in it is just random. If you go to your sink right now and you cut the water on, that's not random. That's a system that allows that to happen, right? So if you get a chance, go to wastewater management and ask them the tool wastewater management, and you'll understand how you get water to show up in your house. That's a system. So these are the things that we're not having conversations about because we just think this stuff is organic and it was planned out before you came here, and it's going to act like that till somebody shows up and they destroy this system and they build a new system on top of it. That's how this game works, right? Let's keep going. So if you go inside a grocery store, we're talking about systems that provide consumption, right? Look at the store. Do you think it's just random? It's not. It's a system. The grocery store is designed to bring you through perishable foods and to walk you around to the most perishable foods, to the least perishable foods. And in the middle of the store, you have what we call your dry goods, your hard lines, and your frozen stuff. Well, why is it in the middle of the store? Because it's the least perishable. When you walk into the store, they're normally going to bring you through fruits. Why? Because that's the most perishable. We got to sell that first. Right? Back wall, we got seafood and meat. Well, we can keep that cold. We can sell that a little bit longer. Cheese, eggs, butter, milk is cold, frozen, is frozen. Then we bring you through wine. Why do we have wine and spirits at the end of the store? Because we want to bring you through the whole store to get the wine and spirits. Right? We know you're coming here to get your beer and your alcohol. We know that. But we want to go bring you through the whole store. Maybe something to catch your eye on the way through. It's a system. It's not random. Okay? And so good run grocery stores understand how to utilize a system to bring you through. So this is what we call a controlled environment, and it's designed to produce a response out of you. It's not random. So you're going to have a very unsuccessful store if you put all your frozen food right when the people walk inside the store, and you put all your perishable food way in the back of the store, right? Because your perishable food, it expires faster, it goes bad faster. So what do we got to do? We got to turn it over faster. So we need you to see that immediately when you come in the store. Then we got to merchandise it properly, yada, yada, yada. But this setup is designed to get a response out of you. It's not random, right? So that's what people have to understand. You're interfacing these things and you think these things are just there because they're just there. No, they're there for a reason. All of this stuff is designed to produce a reason, right? But they keep you distracted around the reason, and it's not a conspiracy. How is this a conspiracy if it's in your face and I'm explaining it to you? There is no conspiracy. Go to the store tomorrow or sometime this week and follow this pathway. There's no conspiracy. It's right in front of you. It's in the open. There's no conspiracy. Is that they know they can keep you distracted with everything else where you'll never see this. You'll just walk through the store, right? That's their job. So there's very few conspiracies anymore. Everything's pretty much out in the open. They just know they can distract you because every day they got a new story they throw in front of you. That's how this game works. And as long as you keep buying, they don't care because you have to support the environment, which is 2/3 consumer spending, right? So let's keep going. How well do you steward over your finances? That's the question you want to ask yourself. How well do you steward over your personal finances? Okay. Here's the question. Do you budget towards your financial goals? Do you have a budget? Right? Many people do not. They work and they don't know where their money is going. Right? If you were to invest in a business and the business told you, well, we make money, but we don't account for none of it as it comes into the business, would you invest in that business? So somebody say, hey, man, I want to sell you my business. You say, okay, man, give me the accounting statements. And you find out that they make money, but they have no idea where the money goes inside their business. They don't know where the money's going. Who knows? Would you invest in that business? Many people have no budget. They just spend money how it come in, right? They just spend it. And as long as they cover their bills at the end of the month, whether they do it through cash or credit, they cool, they go to the next month. That's how they live their life, right? Next question. Do you invest in assets? So do you have any assets that you've invested in? We're talking about financial stewardship, right? If you don't own a home, a lot of people don't own homes, right? I want you to get one. Everybody working towards that goal. But do you have any assets that you invest in? A closet full of clothes is not an asset, right? Closet full of shoes, those are not assets, right? They not. They look cool on the internet, but they're not assets, right? You talk to somebody that got shoes, but they're not assets, okay? So what do you invest in that's actually an asset? Can you be trusted to maintain and even grow financial resources? Can you be trusted to do that? Can somebody give you some financial resources you can be trusted to maintain and grow it? Or will it just run through your fingers, right? So these are questions you got to ask yourself because it got to do with you. You can go get you a personal budget, right? They got that type of planners on the internet. You can reach out to somebody, ask them how they doing, what they doing, and figure that out on your own, right? Do you invest in assets, any asset? You could just be buying silver on the low. You could be buying gold on the low. You could be buying, I don't know, palladium and aluminum on the low. There's a lot of different assets that you can invest in. Everything don't have to be big ticket. And then can you be trusted to maintain and even grow financial resources? Right? Many people cannot. So they're bad stewards of financial resources. Right? Because you can't give them nothing and they're going to be able to come back even with the principal. We ain't talking about coming back with a return. They won't even bring your principal back. They'll lose your money. Right? And so that's something that you got to think about, okay? So here's something from the Bible. And what it's really stating is that whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. It's from Luke 16:10. What it's trying to explain is that if you cannot manage small things, why would you be given large things to manage? That's something you want to ask yourself. If you have shown an inability to manage what you currently have, right? I'm not saying that you're supposed to get rich off of it. I'm not saying that you're not supposed to have challenges. What I'm saying is if you're totally mismanaging what you currently have, why would you be trusted to get more than what you currently got? Why would anybody trust you with that? Right? Why would God trust you with more if you can't manage what you have? I'm not saying you're supposed to be content with. I'm not saying you're supposed to be satisfied. What I'm saying is how are you managing what you currently have? Okay? That's the question you want to ask yourself. Let me give an example. David in the Bible, he excelled at tending his father's sheep for years. Right? He didn't come from a wealthy household. He didn't come from a household of royalty. He had sheep that he had to tend to. That was his father's sheep. Those are his family's property. He excelled at tending that for years before he got another assignment. Right? So many times what we're doing is we're failing at something small, but what we want is something big. But we failing at the small stuff. But our attitude is what it's going to replace itself. But you're failing at stewarding over it. Right? So just because it keeps replacing don't mean I'm a good steward over it. Right? I may just be in a season where I'm being blessed like that. But it don't mean I'm being a good steward. Right? And so what a lot of people do is they confuse the two. They get in their mind, well, I don't worry about money because God gonna make sure I always got money. Right? But what happens when God want to show you something and because you haven't been a good steward of it, you're going to have to really go through it because you ain't being a good steward of what you're being blessed with. Because you believe, it's magic. And so if I spend it, it's going to come back. I'm going to talk about that later on this week. Okay. So what we see is that people, before they was given big assignments, showed that they can excel at small stuff. And they did well at that. And then they got bigger stuff. It wasn't, well, you know what? My father got a lot of sheep, so it don't matter what happened to him because God just going to replace the sheep. You ain't showing that you can manage what we giving you. And so many people are failing at stewarding what they currently have, and they're also trying to convince other people that they should fail at it too. We're going to talk about that later, but that's the issue, right? And so this is something that you want to really ask yourself about yourself. Don't put nobody else in it. The world is full of stories of people who got responsibility of financial resources way before they had the ability to properly steward over them, and the system executed this program on them. Have you ever heard rich people talk about, it's a brother, he was on Cam Newton's show. I went to his course. It's called Operation Hope. I went to his course out here in Atlanta. Big up to him. He got a free course for business people. Went to it in Atlanta. Big up to him. So we're not down on him. But a lot of rich people will tell you, because of their system, they know this because of the system that they built. We could take all the money from rich people and give it to poor people. And because of the system that we built, they'll give it all back to us in a short amount of time. Because why? We programmed them to do that. Because that's how we got rich off them the first time. See? So we don't quit the program. We just give them the money. But we keep running the program. And the program keeps running. So what do? They give us the money back. See? So what happens is people hit lotto, but they never learn how to steward over what they currently had. So what do? They give all their money back to rich folks. They don't go buy no land, nothing. They just give all their money back to rich people. I've seen it happen over and over and over and over again. because they never learn how to steward. You get these athletes that come into money real young and real early, and they never learn how to steward because they came from poverty. So nobody never had no money. There's a brother out of Florida. He played for Alabama. Then he went to the NFL named Trent Richardson. He talked about he spent all his money on his family. He didn't blow his money. He never knew what to do with money like that. Why? Nobody ever had it. He came out of poverty. So he never got any responsibility over anything. Did he fall into all this money because he playing ball? What'd he do? He gave it all right back to rich folks. That's what we do. So the challenge is, how can you learn how to steward over what you currently got so when you come into something else, you can manage it properly? Because the system will execute its program on you. It's a very, very good system. It works real well. It works on millions of people, right? And it's really going to try to work on billions of people if they get their chance. So that's what I want you to understand. These are the things that's going on. Why can stewardship be difficult, right? Have you been trained to be a steward? We just talked about that. Do you feel torn that you're not engaging in the behavior of the masses? Okay. Do you feel that people will like or relate to you more if you decide to be a bigger consumer? So the first thing, have you been trained to be a steward? So let me give you a story real quick. I knew this person growing up. They always had to do things in the house. They always had chores. Now, I know a lot of y'all ain't had no chores. Y'all just sat up in the house and watch your parents work. But I know people that had chores growing up, right? I knew a girl out of Kissimmee. She used to take care of cows and all that type of stuff out there in Kissimmee, black chick, right? Y'all don't know about 4-H, none of that type of stuff. You know, Kissimmee look different now. I remember when Kissimmee was just nothing but cows and land, okay? So this person always had chores. They always had to do stuff around the house, okay? Years go on, years go on, years go on. Their parents pass away. Now they got control of the house, okay? What they had to do was maintain the house until they decided what they was going to do with it. But they was able to do that because why? They was given responsibility in that house coming up as a young person. So now that their parents is gone, they know everything that need to be done in the house. Y'all got to get done. Got to get them branches off the roof. I was down somewhere and I seen all kind of leaves on a business roof. I say, man, them leaves gonna rot that dude roof off. You need to get somebody to come take them, right? They knew how to get the branches and the leaves up off the roof. Got to get the yard done, right? They had to install some safety features for security. They called the people out, had the people come do that. They knew how to steward over that property. So then when they decided that, okay, we're going to take this property to market to sell it because that's what we want to do, the property didn't lose value. I knew another person growing up, they low-key was spoiled. They never had to do nothing in the house. They just sat up in the room, played the game all day while their mama did all the work, right? And then their mama passed away and they got the house. And you know what happened? The house went down. They wasn't getting the yard cut. Don't get the yard cut. City come and put that thing out there. Tell you they're going to fine you if you don't cut your yard, right? They wasn't paying the bills on the property. So you know what's going to happen? The city finna come and take your property. That's a quick way they get your property, stop paying that tax, right? We had a little hurricane and they took the FEMA money and they bought drugs with the FEMA money instead of getting the roof fixed, right? So they not being a good steward of it, but they was never taught that growing up. They was able to sit in a room and play the game and chill out while their mama did all the work. She managed everything, right? So the whole situation went down. So what happens with a lot of people is we say, well, this person lost their house. But you know what? They was never taught to be a good steward of that property when it was coming up. They was never taught that. They just were living there. These group of people, they lost their land. They used them heirs' rights to get their land. But you know what? Them people was never taught to be stewards of that land. When they family had the land, they was never taught to be stewards of that land. It was never something that was even talked about. How are you going to steward over this land when we gone? It was never discussed. So when they get the land, they don't know what to do with it, right? They don't know how to be a good steward over that property because why? They was never put in that position before they actually got the land. See? So that's what I want people to understand. Many people have not been trained to be a steward over anything. They've just been trained to be a consumer, which is all they ever going to be, right? Next one. Do you feel torn that you're not engaging in the behavior of the masses? Okay. So if you see everybody spending money and doing their thing, yada, yada, yada on the weekend, do you feel torn that you're not doing it? Right? Because you feel odd that I ain't just out here spending money because that's what everybody's doing. You know, because you might live in one of them cities like me where on the weekend, it just go crazy. Everybody just come out. Right? So do you feel like I'm missing out because I ain't just out here spending all my money? Do you feel like that? I remember I used to read this. I used to go to this blog called The Millionaire Fast Lane. And the guy talked about when he was young, he lived above a bar. He was putting together his little business. And he would hear all them people in the bar, you know, doing his thing. He in the room trying to put his business together. And all he thought about was, I got to focus on what I'm doing. I can't get caught up with what the people doing up under me. Right? And often, because it's so prevalent in our society to just be this big time consumer, and that's who gets all the attention, and that's who often gets a lot of the affection from people, we think that's going to be our role in society. So this person get a car, I got to get a bigger car than them. This person got fly clothes, I got to get clothes fly than them, or at least on their level so I can fit in with them. These people go out every weekend and they go to the bars and they do this, da, 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 da. I got to try to be with them people, so I got to do the same thing because that's what they do. They call it having fun, enjoying life, right? So often you can feel like you're being left out, which can make you become a bad financial steward. Again, do you feel like people relate to you more if you decide to be a bigger consumer? We just talked about that. If you know people and you the kind of person like when I was working, I brought my lunch to work. I rarely ate out. I might have ate out like maybe once a week, but I normally brought my lunch to work because I was trying to save money. I know people ate out every day, right? They ate out every day. That was what they chose to do with their money. I didn't have it like that. So I wasn't even gonna fake the role, right? I know people that eat out all the time anyway. That's just how they live their life. Do you feel like people will like or relate to you more if you decide to be a bigger consumer? I'm not saying you can't go out and enjoy yourself. I'm not saying that you got to be frugal. What I'm saying is that, are you being a good steward over what you currently have, right? Or do you feel like the only way I can relate to these people and be cool with them is I just become a bigger consumer, right? Because I know people every weekend they go shopping. That's just what they do. Okay? So these are the kind of questions you got to ask yourself. So here's an example. We know about eating out. Eating out's real big in America. Right, I've talked about eating out. I come from a restaurant city, right? I'm not really impressed by it, but everybody different, okay? But people are made to feel that if you don't go and take people to eat and yada, 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 you're less than, right? Because you don't want to eat food that's brought out of a freezer. I had a brother talking to me about, these Michelin restaurants and yada, yada, yada. I'm from a restaurant city. I worked in restaurants. I know the game. I was at a restaurant in Alexandria, cool little spot, Indian spot, got real good bread. I had a lamb shank, right? Lamb shank was decent. Scale of 1 to 10, give it a 7. Gravy was real good. Bread was fabulous. They should just sell their bread in the store. It's up there in Alexandria, VA. I'll give y'all the name of it one day. Well, because I know how to cook in real life, I come from people that know how to cook and I know how to cook. So that's different between me and a lot of people. I didn't realize that until I got older. Right? I come from people that know how to cook and I know how to cook. There's no way that lamb shank was cooked at that moment. Why? Because it's a lamb shank. It's impossible. Right? So what they probably did was cook the lamb shank early and then they put it in a warmer. And then when I order it, they take it out the warmer, heat it up, make the gravy and serve it. But because it's a lamb shank, there's no way that lamb shank was cooked, made to order. It's impossible. It's a lamb shank. Now, a lot of y'all don't eat lamb. I came up eating lamb like that from my grandma. Right? A lot of y'all don't know we used to eat lamb back in the day. They got y'all over here eating these cows. It is what it is. Right? But I like lamb. Right? So I came up because of my grandma eating a lot of lamb shank. Right? But I know that's not fresh. And when I say fresh, I mean it wasn't cooked that moment. It's impossible because it's lamb shank. So I'm not really that impressed that I'm in this restaurant eating lamb shank because I know the food wasn't cooked at that moment. I came up, man, you go to my grandma's house, she'll cook you something right there. You know what I'm saying? I came up on home cooked meals. That's how I was raised. I cook, right? So eating out really don't move me like that. Like it move other people. It just don't. Like, because I came up on home cooked food. I came up on fresh baked stuff. That's how I came up. I don't put that expectation on nobody else because I know we're in a different era. And as I got older, I realized that a lot of people don't cook. They just don't. I was raised in a bubble when it comes to cooking because everybody I know could cook. Everybody in my family could cook. As far as my immediate family, we all could cook. Everybody. We could cook. right? So most women I meet, I cook them up under a table because they ain't nobody taught them how to cook. It's just, it is what it is. But I want you to understand, do you feel like you need to eat out to fit in with the crowd, right? And go out and eat the frozen food with a whole bunch of sodium in it because they pulling up out that freezer, right? But we think we doing something because we at the restaurant. And so we understand Darden's going to report this week that restaurants need you to be programmed to come up into them. You know, Darden's reporting this week, right? I was at a Cracker Barrel last Monday, was not impressed. That's still a short, right? But Cracker Barrel needs you spending money with them. But I realized I'm outside of the norm because I was raised on home cooked food. So when I go in Cracker Barrel, that does not taste better than the Southern food that my grandma made. But my grandma don't have to make food for, 1,000 people. She making food just for us so she can take her time with it. Them people got to just throw something together and serve it. So it's a different type of setup. So these are kind of questions you got to ask yourself when you out here spending money. Like, what's the justification for what you're doing? Why is eating out more popular than cooking for people who have kitchens in their house? I can't figure that out. Right? And I'm the type of person, I work a lot and I still find time to cook because I looked at they send the food to your house, too much sodium. Even the ones, because it's frozen. And what they're using as a cheap preserver, which has been used since the beginning of time, is salt. But I can't figure out still why eating out is more popular than cooking for people. You got a kitchen in your house. See, if you live somewhere like in New York City, and you don't have a kitchen in your house. Some people, that's how they living. They live like in a basement apartment with no kitchen. They got to eat out. It is what it is. If that's how you living, that's how you living. But you got people that got whole kitchens in their house, they don't want to cook. And they think eating out is the spot. I'm not going to argue with them. That's them. But we see that. How does that support being a good steward of your money? If a person eats out 7 times a month, how does that impact their monthly budget? So if I have a monthly budget, but I'm constantly eating out, how does that impact it by that? See, if I don't have a budget, I don't see that though. Right? So I talked about me and the bro going to get breakfast when he came through. We did a networking event. Breakfast was low key almost $100. I wasn't mad at paying it because I wanted to network with bro because he cool like that, wanted to link with him. But imagine me spending that $100 4 times a month. That's $400 just on food outside of my house. But I got food in my house. Right? So I'm buying food, but spending money outside on the street. Right? So how does that impact my budget? But then the question is, what's my financial goals? So my financial goals only are to make money and spend it and make money and spend it because I don't convince myself, well, it's going to get replaced anyway. Well, then I don't care. Right? But what if I got different financial goals than that? Can a person feel pressure to eat out to meet the expectations of their peer group? We talked about you in a group of people, they eat out all the time. Do you feel like that's what you got to do? To be cool with them because they always going out to eat because they don't cook. You see what I'm saying? So these are the things that you got to ask yourself. You start talking about being a good financial steward of what you have, right? Because you can eat out multiple times this year. You'll spend more money than anything I got to sell you. And once you leave that restaurant, that's all you got. There is no long-term value to the situation because most of these restaurants cookie cut anyway. They cookie cutter. So it's not like the ambiance just cold like that. The experience just cold like that. It's just a way for you to spend money, right? But so many people are conditioned to do it. That is what it is. In the metro area, breakfast on Sunday is crazy. How many people get breakfast on Sunday, right? Like y'all can't go cook eggs and turkey bacon in your house, but they want to be out. People be out drinking on Sunday morning. It's crazy to me, but that's me. I'm weird to a lot of people. But that's never been my motivation. I'm going to leave my house, go get breakfast, overpay for it, and drink. It's Sunday. You can't take no time, but it is what it is. And people getting money, that's what they do, right? So that's what you got to understand. Do you feel pressure to do that? So then what that's doing is now it's negatively impacting your ability to be a good financial steward because you trying to fit in with these folks and you worried about what they're going to say about you. Okay, let's keep going. Do your relationships support the required stewardship to accomplish your goals? So again, do your relationships that you have support the required stewardship to accomplish your goals? Or are you building relationships with people where they're taking you away from your stewardship? And the only way you can get along with them is to become a bad steward of your finances. Now, the question you want to ask yourself is, when you fall flat financially, is they gonna help you out? Because a lot of people, they help you spend it. But then when you don't have it no more, they don't answer that phone because you ain't fun no more. But a lot of people, they help you spend it though. As long as you spend it, they with you. As soon as you fall flat or you ain't looking like that no more, you don't have it like that no more, them people don't answer their phone no more because you no more fun. So do your relationship support the required stewardship to accomplish the goals? Or the only reason these people cool with you is because you spend the money? And the only way you can keep them around you is you got to keep spending money. These are questions you got to ask yourself. Right? So that's why I challenged, a man got to take a woman out 4 times a month. Because I said, how much that costs? In a city where the average man make 60-something thousand a year. Right? So in the metro area, the average salary is 67-something thousand a year. So how much is it going to cost to take the person out 4 times a month? We multiply that by 12. That's money coming out your check. But see, we know we don't do no numbers on the internet. We just talk. Right? People don't do what I do. They don't do, slideshows and do do presentations. They just cut the camera on and just be freelancing. And people think that, they getting some good game, but you got to know what game is and understand what game is in the first place. But what's the number attached to that? So then that's money coming out of your check to go on a date 4 times a month, because your only value is how many times you can take the person out. You don't have no more value than that. So once you fall flat in that area, they done with you, because that's your value. That's the only way you can show them that you are intentional about dating them, is I got to keep taking you out. Okay, cool. See? So that's one of the challenges you have, is that in these spaces, we don't do numbers. We don't do how this thing actually works in the real world. We don't do real income data. We just say stuff. And if what the person say sound good, we think we got some game. Again, you got to know what game is and know what game is. Let's keep going. If you're interested in someone, do you have to ignore your budget to make them happy? Right? So if you like somebody, do you not have to ignore your budget to make them happy? So you got a budget, you've established yourself, hey, I'm trying to do this, yada, yada, yada. But now to be cool with you, I got to ignore my budget. See, they don't talk about this in the relationship space. That's why I'm here. Even though I don't sit in these lanes like that, because I ain't got time for it. Right? But if you're interested in somebody, do you have to ignore your budget to make them happy? Because see, everybody got boundaries except the other person. So you notice when they talk about boundaries, they never talk about how do you respect somebody else's boundaries. We don't talk about that. We just talk about you need boundaries. But what about the other person's boundaries? So I got a budget. So if we're going to do something, they got to fit within my budget. Your job got the same budget. Go to your job right now, ask them for a raise. You know what? If it don't fit in the budget, you ain't going to get one. Because your job got a budget for how much they can pay people where you work at. It don't matter how much work you do. That's why Eric can tell you she's 100% correct. A lot of times when you're going to get your raise, you got to leave your job, go somewhere else. But go to your job right now and say, hey, I want a raise. It's 2025, cost of living done went up. You know what they're going to tell you? Let's see if it fit in the budget. So them Anglo-Saxons that you work for, they got a budget. You fine with that. But then somebody black tell you they got a budget, you got a problem with it. That don't add up to me. But, I'm different. See what I'm saying? So when the Anglos tell you they got a budget, you don't say nothing. But when your people tell you they got a budget, that's a problem. They cheat, Okay, cool. So that's how you're going to run it. Keep doing it then. So that's what I'm telling you. If you are dealing with somebody, do you have to ignore your budget to make them happy? Do the people around you reinforce good financial stewardship practices? Are they constantly trying to get you to spend your money on stuff, even though you know you got a budget? But the only way you can be cool with them is to keep coming out the pocket. Y'all can't do nothing low key. Y'all can't do nothing that's not high ticket. You got to keep coming out the pocket. That's what you got to do. Because if you're not, you a lame, you don't really have interest in this person, yada. This is the type of stuff they say. And then people buy into it because already it's a system designed to produce consumers. So if you're dealing with somebody and they believe in that system, they attitude as well, you need to show me that you are a suitable consumer to be around me. You notice these people don't talk about no investments or no assets and how we going to get that. They don't talk about it's just spending money, right? They'll never talk about returns on capital. It's just how we can get money, how we can spend money. I'm sorry. If you're pursuing a relationship, can you talk numbers? Or do you have to act like you have it to keep the other person happy? If you're dealing with somebody, whether you male or female, and you don't have it like that, can you tell them? They say, hey, I want to go do this, and the third. I don't have it like that. That don't fit in my budget. I had a rough month, right? I had a rough month, and so I don't have it like that this month. They're going to be mad at you. You know what I'm saying? Because every month not going to be, you know what I'm saying? I look at multi-billion-dollar organizations. They don't make the same amount of money every quarter. It don't work that way, right? So you may have some up months, some down months. But if you're pursuing a relationship with somebody, can you talk numbers, or do you have to act like you got to just, I got it all the time to keep that other person happy? You can't never really show them that, hey, you know what, I'm going through something right now. I don't really have it like that. Are you scared that they're going to blow up? Right? They're going to blow up. So I got to act like I got it. So I got to go to the credit card, because if I say I don't have it, they're going to blow up. And if funny y'all don't slang, the slang of blow up means they're going to leave you. Right? Because you got to act like you got it like that. Because the people that's propagating these narratives, they make more money than the average man. You know what I'm saying? So you got a millionaire telling women, if the dude don't do that, it show he not serious about you. But you a millionaire, bro. The average person not a millionaire. So let's bring this down to somebody that makes $67,000 a year, and let's do numbers. We ain't gonna do that because that don't keep the business model going. Because I didn't become a millionaire. And I'm talking about these people that do this. They didn't become a millionaire by doing numbers and doing budgets, right? They became millionaires by doing fantasy on internet. That's how they got their money. So this is what people are dealing with. If you trying to pursue somebody in a relationship, can you talk numbers? Because if you can't, when can you? You got to wait till you get married, then everything gonna come out, right? So these are some of the issues that people dealing with. How are you a good financial steward if you can't speak? Again, you go to your job right now and tell them people you want to get a raise. They're gonna tell you, hey, if it fit in the budget, we might could do it. If not, yada yada yada. Or they're quick to tell you we can't spend on this because it don't fit in the budget. We can't do this. So you used to people telling you that the budget is tight or it's constrained, but in your personal life, you don't want to hear nothing about no budget. You just want to break bread. Okay, cool. Keep on. Right? So let's keep going with it. Does somebody you're romantically pursuing care about you if they do not care about your financial situation? Again, we're talking about stewardship. I learned this from a woman who's been married for decades, and she and her husband doing real well. So I listen to what she got to say. Right? Because proof in the pudding. And she don't do no internet content. She do real life stuff. Right? And she broke down to where if you're romantically pursuing somebody, do they care about you if they don't care about your financial situation? So if they try to make you do something that's going to be detrimental to your financial situation or financial goals, do they really care about you? Because we're talking about financial stewardship. See, we're not talking about this ambiguous stuff that they come up with just to create content. So if you got a certain financial position, you got a certain class position, you make a certain amount of money per year, right? This could be documented. It's in numbers, okay? If you try to romantically pursue somebody and they don't care about your financial situation, they don't care about your financial goals, they don't care about your budget, do they care about you? Right? Or are you only there to spend money? And once the money dry up, they blow up. You feel me? So because we're not actually having these kind of conversations that we talked about on this whole show, we can never really get into what real financial stewardship look like. Because this don't make no money for nobody. Because we're not giving you an enemy that you need to be mad at. And I'm telling you, look at yourself. Right? First, you have a budget. Do you have financial goals? Do you feel pressure to spend money to get along with other people? Right? And then do the people around you care about your financial situation? Or do they just want you to spend money because that's what they want you to do? Right? These are the kind of questions you got to ask yourself. So being a good financial steward is countercultural in this environment. We talked about this environment is designed to just make you be a consumer. Right? This environment really right now was designed for you to approach your 70s with no money in the bank. Right? It's designed for that. for you to go into your 70s and you don't have $10,000 saved up. But you've been spending money your whole life. So being a good financial steward is counterculture. You going against the grain by being a good financial steward in this environment, right? This is a totally different America. America used to promote saving and don't anymore because they needed people to spend money to keep their businesses going. But America at one time used to promote saving money, being frugal, being a good financial steward. America used to encourage that type of stuff. Not anymore, it don't. It's just break bread, spend, go to the mall, go crazy. That's how it is. How can you build a group that is not willing to do? How can you build a group that is willing to do what the majority is not and feel good about it? If we're going to build a group and we're going to be good financial stewards and we're going to build an economic position, how can we do that and feel good about it and not get caught up in, I feel good because I went out and spent a whole bunch of money, right? Because we got to essentially reprogram myself from the programming that's going on all the time. Right? Do I sell stuff? Yes, I run a sales operation. Do I try to persuade people to buy stuff from me? Yes, I do. But one thing about me is I can teach you how to go get you some more money. You ain't just buying stuff from me and that's it. But two, I don't want it to be to where the only reason why you're around me is because you're doing business with me. That's why I try to always make sure I give more value than what you spend it. It's just, the right people going to see the value. Some people not. It is what it is. Some people just here to be entertained. Right? But I want you to leave knowing how to make better financial decisions, how to better get returns on capital, how these economic systems actually work, so you can get with your people so y'all can go build yourself a group. Right? It ain't just about me and me keep showing up and me getting paid. I don't run a business model. Let me explain something before we get up on out here. I do not run a business model where I'm the millionaire and everybody that's a supporter of me make $40,000 a year. That's not what's going on over here. I don't run that kind of business model. Well, I got a big old house and I got all these fly cars, but everybody that support me make $35,000, $40,000 a year. I don't run that kind of business model. That's not how I built it, and that's not how it's gonna go. Because I come out of a real crew, a real one, not no internet one. I know we talk about the stock market sharks. That's cool. I rock that. But I come out of a real crew. And I don't come out of, I'm in the crew and I got money, but nobody else ain't got no money. We don't do that. We don't do that. Right? If I'm getting money, I'm going to try to figure out how to help you get some money because we together. But everybody different. Because most, everybody, they come out of this little weird stuff. I come out of a real crew. So if I'm getting money, I got to figure out how to help you get some money because we together and we a crew. Right? So that's what I brought to the internet. I didn't bring to the internet, I'm going to be the star and y'all going to pay me. And I don't like that. That ain't how I move. I don't move like that. But everybody raised different. They come from different environments. I come out of a real crew. I got into a situation with a dude like that years ago. I say, man, look here, man. You don't know who you're talking to, bro. Like I did this in real life. So it ain't, I get money and everybody pay me and I'm a million and everybody around me got $30,000. Now we going to figure out how we going to all get us some money. Right? Because the way I'm going to try to program you, if you don't want to get no money, you're going to get from around me because I'm going to keep talking about money. So you're going to be like, man, all this dude talk about is money all the time. Let me go do something else because you don't want to hear that. But I want you to really understand is that you can build a group and it ain't got to be a million people. It could be you and your husband. It could be you and your wife. It could be you and your cousin. It could be you and another person. It could be you and somebody that you're in a platonic relationship with. And y'all could go out here and build an economic situation, right? Y'all can really do that because you know why it's going to be so easy to do it? Because most people are not trying to do it. They just trying to spend money, right? Because that's what I'm constantly trying to build. Who can I get with and let's do something on the economic level? They really serious about doing it. They ain't playing games, right? They not just talking and trying to see who they can get to do all the work. They really want to sit down. Let's get in these weeds and let's knock this stuff out, right? Because I'm telling you, if you do that, it's going to be very easy for you because why? Most people are not trying to do that. They're just trying to spend money, right? And yeah, some of y'all be surprised on the conversations that I get because of what I'm involved in. I know a lot of people, man, they doing their thing. Don't let these people on the internet fool y'all. I know a lot of people doing their thing, bro. And the reason why it's going to be easy for them to do their thing, because most people are going to be distracted for the next 4 years. And they're going to look up, it's going to be 2020, it's going to be what, 2020, it's going to be 2029, 2030. and their financial position going to be worse and other people going to be up. I know somebody the other day, man, they hit me up about Birmingham. I know this person. This person probably, this is a young dude. He under 30. He'll probably be a millionaire by the time he's 40, 45 years old because he got the right mindset, right? He ain't distracted. He ain't messing with none of this stupid stuff. He just lock in and do his thing. He'll probably be a millionaire by the time he's 40, 45 years old off the real estate game, right? So that's what I'm telling you. If you just lock in on what you got to do, get with a group of people. It ain't got to be a million people. It could be a small group of people. Y'all lock in, do y'all thing. Y'all have stuff out here, man. Because why? People just caught up. They lost in the sauce. Most people lost in the sauce. And that's just how the world works. So we going to get up on out of here, man. Anybody got any questions, comments, disagreements, come through, and then we going to bounce out. It's 8:16 already. Okay. Put that in the chat. Okay, that's linked in the chat. Anybody got any questions, comments, or disagreements, come on through before we bounce out of here. So everybody came through with the super chat, man. I really appreciate it. So Miss Phoenix 91, appreciate it. Miss Phoenix 91, also appreciate the fact that you've been gifting people memberships. Really appreciate it. And glad I've been able to add value to your life. So big up to you and your family. Like I said, I met your daughter in Houston. Very nice young woman, right? So big up to her. Ray Gun, man, appreciate the $2 super chat. Appreciate you being a mod. Miss Del Sol, who ripping up that futures market. Appreciate you coming through for the $4.99. Hope everything working out for you, right? Cedric Ware, appreciate the $4 super sticker. Big up to Salt Lake City, even though I've never been there. Life Beyond the Ring, man, appreciate the $1.99. Donald Watts, man, appreciate the $19.99 super sticker. Watts came through with the clean suit. Lock Vegas, man, appreciate you coming through being a member. Okay, so anybody got any questions, comments, yada, 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 come on through before we get up on out of here. And appreciate everybody for coming through on a Monday. No problem, Miss Phoenix 91. I appreciate it. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate you holding me down in the Discord. Appreciate it. Because like I said, I can't do it all by myself. I got too much work. I'll be working all day, Miss Phoenix. Like literally, I'll be working all. It's 8 o'clock. I'm still working. So I couldn't do it by myself. So I appreciate all the help. Like I say, I'm here because of my community. I ain't here by myself. I got too much work to do. I wake up in the morning, start working and work to the end of the night. So I appreciate it. Now I know somebody else out there. I shot through there driving to Mississippi one time, right? But I got some things I got to do out here, GC, before I start moving in different directions. I don't want to get spread too thin. You feel me? But I'm going to look at it, man, because I really believe because of its location, it can be a really good real estate market, but it's also some gems out here in this Atlanta metro market too. So like I said, I don't want to get spread too thin, bro, because I ain't playing with $10 million. If I was, it'd be a different situation. But I really believe Birmingham is, what, is it an hour away from Atlanta? It's not that far. You can literally commute from Birmingham to Atlanta if you need to. But I really believe that that real estate market is going to improve over time. Property tax rates are going to start to go up. We're going to get better services, yada, yada, yada. And I really believe because the way the highway system is set up there, it's already set up to be a good situation because of the highway system, right? It low-key may have a better highway system than Atlanta. Atlanta got a terrible highway system. They put everybody on one road, which is like crazy, but that's Atlanta. So more like an hour and 55 minutes, 45 minutes, 2 hours. That's really not that bad in the South. It's really not that bad. It's comparable to Macon. You know what I'm saying? But Birmingham, to me, got more potential than Macon. So it's comparable to Macon. It's really not that bad. So it's hard to find people with this mindset. I feel you. I feel you on that. It's hard to find people that just don't want to be consumers. What's up to Miss Latoria? Best to have your A1 since day one in your corner. Have a couple people in your corner that can show you how to get some money in your pocket. I feel you. But Miss Latoria, people got to be about money. Everybody not about money. They not. You know, it is what it is. People see things differently. They not. You know, because again, this system works so good. This system has to produce consumers to continue to keep going. if people stop spending money, the stock market will fall through the floor. So, you know, they got to produce what they need. So Donald Watts says possible to agree with you, good steward. But Donald Watts, you can do it, you and one other person. I believe that, right? I believe two people could go to a small city and shake it up. If they locked in and they locked in and they moving together, they can shake it up. You know what I'm saying? I really believe that. There's a lot of little small cities out here, man. Ain't really nothing going on out there. You know what I'm saying? It's a lady told me about a city in Georgia, and like I think a little west of Valdosta. She told me about. I had did some basic work on her car. Older black lady. Appreciate Miss Brandy. Appreciate you doing what you do. Y'all hit Miss Brandy up for them taxes, man. Y'all know y'all about to be late on y'all taxes. Okay, so here this person coming. Let's see if this person is an actual legit person. Hello?
Hey, time of day. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh man, appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm definitely a real person, man. It's B Rad from Malibu. And just want to first of all kind of give you a little bit of perspective, man, and give you a big thanks for what you do, the kind of the value. I don't get to catch uh every ordeal you come out with, man, because I kind of in my own little lane over here moving across the world. I'm an old military guy, but just wanted to kind of say appreciate it for what you do, man, the value you bring, because I think you deliver more value. You deliver more value than 90% of these big conglomerates we see on these mainstream networks and whatnot. So appreciate you, man. So you deserve your flowers. So thanks for what you do. And
Thank you. I
then,
appreciate it.
yeah. And then kind of, to your point again, man, I tried that aspect, kind of what you was just talking about today, where I came home and I had I jumped into real estate real heavy, did real by myself with a couple people. Unfortunately, those people kind of passed away because those were older guys. Those were kind of the OGs, and those who kind of taught me the game. It's like, when things went wrong, they was like, don't give up, Brad. Don't give up, blah, blah, blah. Keep going. And, now, those guys, I think you just commented on this a second ago, but those people you started with, man, I tried to get those people in the same boat with me too, and kind of do something different and pull themselves up from where they were. And I even put my own money behind them, taking money from my rental properties and putting it behind them, like, hey, go to the school, man, get this electrician ordeal out the way, and get this HVAC, man, go get this plumbing. We can do this, we can do that. So I had this whole teamwork mentality already kind of built inside of me from where I just came from, and they weren't feeling that, man. And some of them kind of floated away from me, and some of them don't even pick up the phone for me no more, because it was just a different mentality. So now it's a little bit tougher trying to find that somewhat crew.
Okay, but let me ask you something.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if somebody gave you the game and they built you up, that's the structure then. So let me explain something to you. If I'm coaching people in football, they all ain't gonna turn out.
Right.
That's the game.
Yeah.
And so we don't focus on the people that didn't turn out. We focus on the people that did turn out. But if I'm coaching people in football, I'm coaching people in basketball, in any environment, they're not gonna all turn out. One thing I think that we do is I think we're very negative about the people that we work with that don't turn out, and other ethnic groups, they just keep working with their people till they turn out. So they know it's a numbers game. So if somebody gave you the game and built you up, you got the format, but there was no guarantee you was gonna turn out. You could have not turned out.
100%.
You feel me? So I think we need to look at, can we build a structure that can bring people in, and do we have a process? Do we have a curriculum? And are we committed to the goals? And we understand that everybody not going to turn out. I work with a lot of people, been doing it for years. Everybody don't catch to what I'm doing. Everybody don't become successful traders. It don't stop my enthusiasm because I'm enthused about the people that actually did take it and move with it. Because I know how I've been able to be beneficial to their situation. Everybody not going to turn out.
Yep. And I had to accept that because I had my old man getting on my head about it. Like, you know, you got to keep moving. You got to keep doing. But, and and he was right 100%. I had to kind of fall back and leave that alone and jump out and do my own thing. And that's kind of where I started growing a little bit more about myself and trying to reach out to people who want to kind of do something different, because this was me trying to force my friends, force my family. Hey, see this, here's the light. Let's do this. Let's do that. And that necessarily wasn't working. And I kind of had to let that stop doing that because I was starting to hurt my getting my own little feelings from my own brother. One can even stroke a paintbrush in one of my own rentals. And I'm part of the noise. I'm in a different place, man. I'm out. I'm countries away studying, still doing my thing, still working on my own brand and whatnot. But yeah, my own brother, you know, one stroke paintbrush in my own house, but you know, some stranger will if I was to give him a couple bucks to do things. And I had to kind of work from that perspective, and in order for me to succeed, because if I would have kept pushing in that way, it would have, you know, who knows where I would have been if I would have kept trying to force people with my own money behind them, and they don't want the same thing that you want or as hungry as you may be. And again, I think it, you know, a little bit credit to, you know, getting that discipline from Uncle Sam, because I'm one of those guys who, yeah, I'm just gonna go for the gold and build along people who and go along with people who's pretty much going after the same kind of thing or deal. And that's tough and I think that last comment that you said, that is tough to kind of find that people, that crowd that who's just as hungry as you. But yeah, kind of got to stay focused, man. And I want to just tap in and give you a little bit of perspective and also give you your flowers, man. I'm not a big trader. I got my bones and success through, you know, the military and and real estate mainly. But then, yeah, I did learn a little bit more about trading and whatnot, and that all came through like the crypto space. And I kind of realized how there was a little bit more somewhat related with kind of learning how to read charts and ordeal like that. But I'm not a major player in that space. But that kind of gave me a little bit a different asset class to look at or whatever. But overall, just a little bit of perspective, man, and salute to you. And again, thanks for the value you bring, man, because I'm telling you, it's you can't turn on a TV these days and kind of get something from it, especially at the price that you deliver it at. So, you know, yeah, it ain't a whole lot going on these mainstream networks. So you got to really dig around and figure out how you can better and get value out of these internets. Put it that way.
All right, man. I appreciate it, man. Stay safe out there, man. Be easy.
Yep. Yes, sir. Take care, Dan, Dave.
Peace. Okay, so big up to B-Rad, man. I got everybody through. Las Vegas. Okay. Yeah, know that word. I changed my name. You know how that go. Got to switch up every now and then. Alonzo says a quarter for 65,000. Yeah, I believe that. Around that, and I mean that's not small money neither. There was a time, Alonzo, and if you lived in Orlando, Florida, you could make 60,000, man. You was balling before the pandemic. This wasn't like 30 years ago. In Orlando, before the pandemic, and the houses shot up. If you by yourself was making 60,000 as a single person, you was balling. You get married, your wife or your husband or whoever, they making 60,000. Y'all making 120. Y'all balling. Because you can get a house for 225. It's not like that anymore. But it was like that like 2017, 2018. Right? So that's what I'm saying is that prices have gone up so much that people like have this idea that it's somebody's job to financially rescue them. And that's really not their job. It's people need to learn how to build together. You know, you're going to go through people. Yeah, you know, like I say, man, the game got up, down, and turnarounds, man. You got to keep pushing. But, you know, that cookie cutter stuff, man, it's just for television. So 65,000, that's not bad. Miss Alexander says, well, eat out, come home meal plan for the week. I feel you. I was a big meal planner when I was way younger. I would cook for the whole week on Sunday because I had to go to work. So I have all my meals already set up. So I ain't have to cook during the week. I cook everything on Sunday, put it in little what you call it, plastics, and have everything laid up in the refrigerator. Every day I just take a different one to work. Jay Way says Mediterranean makes the best lamb. I feel you. My grandma made a good lamb too. She's from South Carolina. Miss Alexander says they made fun of me bringing my lunch when I was working as an intern. Yeah, people do that, right? But it is what it is, man. I'm not buying food out, because where I was working, man, it was number fast food over there. I'm not buying that every day. It's not even good food. I'm not buying it every day. I'm cool on that. Then we had a cafeteria for the hospital. That stuff was so overpriced, man. They was taxing down there. Boy, they was taxing. I said, yeah, it's time for me to bring my lunch to work every day. I couldn't tell you, bro, because like I say, man, I cook. So I couldn't tell you, bro. I'll be real with you. I couldn't really tell you, dog. I cook. I come from people that cook, right? I know you came in a little late. I couldn't tell you, bro. I cook, bro. So my food better. I'll be real with you. Because what disappoints me about a lot of spots is if they can't cook better than me, to me, I feel like I wasted my money. You know what I'm saying? It's convenience, but I just really feel like I wasted my money. Because if I can cook better than them and I don't even cook full time, to me, if you cook all day, every day, you should be able to outcook me. That's my personal opinion. That's what I graded on. So I couldn't tell you, man, because I cook. I don't really eat out like that. I used to, but now I don't really eat like that no more. If David Lee, man, say get them likes up. Big up to David Lee. What's up to Miss Evelyn Hill? Glad you came through. Life Beyond the Ring. What's up with it, bro? Miss Alexander says stewardship is hard in so many ways to waste resources. I feel you. There's a lot out there. There's a lot of temptation. There's a lot of distractions. And one thing I found, Miss Alexander, is that as people make more money, they find more reasons to spend money. They got a name for it, but I found out because a lot of times when we don't have it, we figure out a way to just go without it. And then once we get it, now we want to spend it because we do have it. And it's a lot of times it's money that didn't even really need to be spent. And I'm not saying being cheap. I'm just saying sometimes the money don't need to be spent. Like just because they make it, it don't necessarily mean it needs to be spent, in my opinion, because they always got something to spend money on. Like it'll never run out. It'll never run out. Unless you got, to me, billions of dollars, you can always go broke spending your money. I've seen it happen to people. Unless you got billions like Elon. He probably can't go broke, but most people, even with millions, could go broke just spending their money. I remember as a dude used to play ball for Philly, white dude, Matt Geiger. He bought a house in Tampa. At that time, the house was like $20 million. I didn't know why he bought it because he wasn't even good like that. He got a nice little contract, but it wasn't like he was cold like that. He ended up trying to sell the house a few years later because he couldn't afford it. He overpaid for that property. Bought a $20 million house. Man, you tripping. $20 million for a house. Man. So I just think because he had it at that time, because Philly gave him a nice little deal, he want to spend that money. But then you try to turn around and sell it. And if you notice, you can never sell those houses for what that original person paid for it, because them houses is custom made. Just like Mike Tyson buying his house. 50 Cent buying Mike Tyson house for like $2 million, if he even paid that much. You know what I'm saying? I remember Mike bought that house, and then Rick Ross buying Holyfield, and not only did he get a house, Holyfield got a whole estate out there. That was a good pickup by Rick Ross because he got all that land. But I remember Holyfield had that thing built. You know, it just, you low-key kind of overpaid for, especially when you make your money that way. Tyler Perry different because Tyler Perry got mailbox money. He gonna get paid when he 80 off them videos. But when you make your money playing sports, you know, one day that money just gonna get cut off. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened to a lot of these athletes. They put their money in the wrong place. The bread get cut off. You know, you got what's his name out here trying to rap. Come on, bro. AB out here trying to rap with them youngsters. Come on, man. But he done ran through his bread. So he trying to get something going. You need to try to give him a little podcast. So I feel you on that. You know, I just think it takes discipline. It really takes goals. I think Miss Alexander is having goals and then working towards that goal and then coming up with another goal. And then working towards that goal and coming up with another goal. And then hoping that those goals are assets, not liabilities. Like I would never have a goal, Miss Alexander, is that I want to get like a sports car because a sports car is a liability. It's not an asset. And people say, well, you can sell it. You can if you find the right person. But we know that with cars, you lose 25% of value within the first year. That's why I don't buy new cars, only buy used cars. So how can I create goals for assets, not liabilities? How can I work towards them? And then how can I partner with somebody that understands those goals is willing to support me in that particular area? Not let's just throw money around. No, I got goals. I'm trying to hit this and let's get this and let's get that. Because, you know, we could transfer an estate to somebody else, even if it's not blood family, that can be a blessing to them because we accumulated during the time we was here. And I've seen people do that where they pass away and they give to a school or something $2 million because why? While they was here, they were just stacking. You know what I'm saying? They were just stacking their bread up. You know, so it's a lot of different ways of skinning that cat. So I feel you. For real, Ray Gunn. There's a lot of land out there, dog. You know what I'm saying? And I feel bad for Holyfield that he lost his property like that. Right? Because like I said, we just talked about that's a big estate. Holyfield got a gang of kids. You could have made it where your kids ain't never have to pay no rent the rest of their life. Or, you know what I'm saying, pay a mortgage. Right? They just had to pay a property tax. So they can all come together, get that property tax. Everybody get some on that land and just live off that. So you always know something. You always got something to fall back to. That's how my mind be working. How can I get something to where my people got a fallback position? So if things go sideways, they can fall back to it, get back on their feet and go back out here. Because that's what I've had to do before. And it's a blessing to where your people have made a way for you to do that. You know what I'm saying? Ray Gunn. And I come from people, man, that was sharecroppers. I don't come from people that got money. Right? I come from people that were sharecroppers. My grandma worked in the kitchen. My grandfather was a janitor. But they understood, especially my grandma, because she really was in that word. She understood financial stewardship. And the thing about my grandma, and I got a lot of that in me, she wasn't no flashy person. She wasn't trying to impress nobody. Nothing. She ain't care about none of that stuff. She ain't care about that because she wasn't trying to impress human beings at all. She ain't care nothing about that. So that's the thing. So I feel bad that Holyfield lost it, even though Rick Ross got it, so it could be a blessing to his family. But I know what Holyfield had to do to make his money, which is play a really dangerous sport, getting your head knocked off, all kind of stuff. But it is what it is, man. I think people got to think about that stuff when they do it. Especially athletes, because their money get cut off so fast. Yeah, he used to have a car show out there. I think they told him he got to move it because of the traffic coming up in there. I think they told him he got to rent like like a field of field fairgrounds. He got to rent like fairgrounds or something because of the traffic coming up in there. You know, it's bad for rescue because they can't get in there because of all that traffic. Right. And he also not going about it the right way because he know good and well he got to pay police to do security. You know what I'm saying? First, he got to get a permit. Then he need to pay police to do security. He got to grease the wheels. And a lot of us don't know that. We be just trying to do stuff because we got some money. You got to grease the wheels, man. Like I said again, if you get money, man, the people around you got to get some money too. You can't just be doing stuff and you getting bread and everybody else just looking at you. The game don't work that way. People be tripping with that stuff. Got to grease the wheels, man. That's how I know these dudes ain't never ran with nobody. They just rapping. Because that's how Miami worked. So I already know he wasn't really doing nothing in Miami like that. Because that's just how Miami worked. Miami always worked like that. You got to grease them wheels, bro. I don't even know on the top of my head, LJ, but I'll hit you up with it, bro. I got you. So we're going to get up on out of here, man. I ain't want to hold y'all too long. We at 126. Y'all stay safe, man. Be easy out here. It's Monday. Quarter pretty much over. So the question is, have you accomplished your goals for the quarter? What you gonna do the rest of the year? Because this quarter pretty much over. Oh, my bad, LJ. I apologize to you. No disrespect.